Once upon a time, in a sun-drenched meadow bursting with life, there lived a grasshopper. He was a cheerful fellow, and his days were filled with music and laughter. You could always find him hopping from one blade of grass to another, his tiny fiddle tucked under his chin, playing the most delightful tunes. The whole meadow seemed to dance to his music. Not far from where the grasshopper played, a tiny but determined ant was hard at work. She marched with a purpose, her small body straining under the weight of a kernel of corn, a crumb of bread, or a juicy berry. Back and forth she went, from the fields to her cozy anthill, her pantry growing fuller with each trip. One particularly warm afternoon, the grasshopper spotted the ant struggling with a large seed. He stopped his song, a playful grin on his face. "Hey there, little ant," he called out. "What a beautiful day. The sun is shining. The birds are singing. Why are you working so hard? Come on, put that down and dance with me." The ant paused, wiping a bead of sweat from her brow. She looked at the carefree grasshopper and then at her heavy load. "I'd love to, grasshopper, but I can't," she replied, her voice a little breathless. "I'm gathering food and storing it away for the winter. You should be doing the same." The grasshopper let out a hearty laugh. "Winter, but winter is so far away. We have plenty of food right now." Look around. The meadow is a feast. Why worry about tomorrow when today is so perfect? The ant simply shook her head, a serious look in her eyes. "Summer won't last forever," she said quietly. "The days will get shorter and the air will grow cold. When the snow covers everything, there will be nothing left to eat. Preparation is key." But the grasshopper just waved a dismissive hand. "You worry too much, my friend. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it." And with a flick of his bow, he struck up another merry tune, hopping away without a care in the world. The ant watched him go for a moment, sighed, and then continued her march. And so the days of summer drifted by. The grasshopper sang. He danced, he napped in the shade of a mushroom, and he played his fiddle from sunrise to sunset. He believed the good times would never end. Meanwhile, the ant kept to her routine. Every single day she toiled, her determination unwavering. She filled her home with grains, nuts, and dried leaves, creating a fortress of comfort and sustenance. She knew that her hard work now would pay off later. The other insects in the meadow would sometimes watch them. Some admired the ant's discipline, while others, much like the grasshopper, thought she was missing out on all the fun. Then, slowly but surely, a change began to sweep across the meadow. The vibrant green of the leaves softened into shades of gold, orange, and red. A cool breeze began to whisper through the tall grass, carrying the first chill of autumn. The grasshopper noticed the change, but he told himself it was just a temporary cool spell. He wrapped his thin coat a little tighter and kept playing, though his songs sounded a little less joyful in the crisp air. The ant, however, saw the falling leaves as a final warning. She worked even faster, sealing the cracks in her anthill with mud and making one last trip for supplies. Soon the last leaf fell. The sky turned a permanent shade of grey, and the first snowflakes began to drift down, blanketing the once lively meadow in a silent white coat. Winter had arrived. The grasshopper's fiddle was frozen, and his stomach rumbled with a hunger he had never known. The world that was once his playground was now a barren, frozen wasteland. There was no food, no warmth, and no music. Shivering violently, cold and utterly alone, he remembered the hard-working aunt. With his last bit of strength, he stumbled through the deep snow until he reached her anthill. He knocked weakly on the door. A small window slid open, and the aunt's kind face appeared. She saw the pathetic state of the grasshopper, his body trembling, his eyes filled with despair. "Aunt, please," he stammered, his voice barely a whisper. "I'm so cold and hungry, I have nothing to eat. I didn't prepare." The aunt looked at him, a flicker of pity in her eyes. She could have turned him away. She could have reminded him of his foolishness. But she didn't. Instead, she opened the door wide. "Come inside, Grasshopper," she said gently. "Come in and get warm. There is enough food for both of us." The grasshopper stumbled into the warmth of the anthill, his eyes wide with amazement at the sight of her fully stocked pantry. He ate gratefully, the warmth of the food spreading through his cold body. As he finished his meal, the aunt sat down beside him. "You are welcome to stay," she said, "but I hope you have learned a valuable lesson. There is a time for work and a time for play. Summer is for enjoying the sunshine, but it is also for preparing for the storms ahead." The grasshopper nodded, his heart full of gratitude and shame. He had learned his lesson the hard way. From that day on, he understood the wisdom of balancing fun with responsibility, ensuring that he was always prepared for whatever the future might hold. The story teaches us a simple but powerful truth. Prepare today for the needs of tomorrow. A little bit of planning and hard work can make all the difference when challenges arise. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales and lessons. See you next time.